This video covers how LightListManager can be used to keep electronic charts up to date with changes to the U.S. Coast Guard Light List. I have preloaded LightListManager with the Volume 2 Light List for the U.S. Coast Guard District 5, the Mid-Atlantic region of the U.S. East Coast. One of the recent changes to the program was to use the U.S. Coast Guard designation of the week of the year to identify each of the Light List files. In this case, the Light List files are for week 13 of 2018, or the last week in March. I have initiated the Find Update feature to identify all changes to the Light List since week 12/18. "33 of the entries in the week 12/18 list were changed in the 13/18 list. Also, one item was removed from the 12/18 list. When I click on the Remove button, the details for the removed item are shown. Also, now there is a checkbox to include the removed items in any GPX file created from the updates list. This box is automatically checked if any of the items in the previous list have been removed. If you don't want to save the removed items, uncheck this box. Clicking the Update Details button displays what has changed in each of the items in the update list. Most changes are very minor, such as remarks and structure fields. Some of the changes are just typos. However, changes in the position can be very significant. The program now displays how far and in what direction the light has been moved. If a new light has been added to the light list, the previous light list number will be blank and highlighted. The Lockwood's Folly Inlet is infamous for the shoaling that takes place there, and it's not unusual for all the marks to be relocated in the spring. The same goes for the Shallot Inlet in North Carolina. I am very interested to see if the new positions for these lights are reflected on the latest NOAA charts. To do this, I saved this updates list, including the removed nav aid, to a GPX file. Then I switched to my chart plotting software, in this case, OpenCPN. I open the Routes and Marks Manager and click on the Import GPX button, then select the GPX file I just created. Here are the waypoints that correspond to each of the updated marks in the Coast Guard Light List. Let's start with the back river marks that have been changed. I select one of them and click Center View to move the chart display to that area. It's interesting to see that the RNC chart of the back river shows that the charted mark locations pretty much line up with those in the waypoint file. My initial thought is that NOAA has already updated the RNC charts to reflect the new positions. I would not have expected that, as updating the RNC charts is supposed to be more difficult than the EMC. To check this out, I switched to the ENC chart for the back river. Here I see that the charted position of buoy 12 is significantly different from that in the waypoint file. From the local notice to mariners for week 13-18, I learned some of these marks are removed during the winter and replaced in the spring, hence the number of updates at the end of March. I also checked the status of the ENC and RNC charts with my Chart Manager program. The RNC chart is current through LNM, Local Notice to Mariners, 1318, the same as the Light List XML file. The ENC chart has only been updated through LNM 1218, so my expectation that ENC charts would be updated more quickly than RNCs is, at least in this case, wrong. Now let's look at the changes to the marks for Lockwood's Folly Inlet. Here the ENC chart includes only the offshore buoy, none of the channel marks in the waypoint file. Unsurprisingly, the RNC chart also does not include these marks. Lockwood's Folly is one of the problem areas of the Atlantic Intercoastal Waterway, with shoaling and shifting shoals requiring constant movement of channel marks. NOAA does not chart the channel marks for these kinds of inlets. However, the U.S. Coast Guard does publish the positions for these marks, and I can use LightListManager to display these marks as waypoints. The Shallot Inlet is another inlet for which NOAA does not chart the channel markers. I am unlikely to ever pass through either of these inlets on my sailboat, so the location of the marks is not important to my navigation. But I'm sure there are many local fishermen who use these inlets often, and some of them would like to have the marks plotted on their electronic charts. I would not import these marks into OpenCPN as a waypoint GPX file, but rather as an OpenCPN layer. Waypoints in a layer file are permanent and do not clutter up the waypoints display. To input a waypoint GPX file as an OpenCPN layer, the file must be copied into the layers subfolder in the OpenCPN folder under the Windows Program Data folder. I previously created a GPX file for the Shallot Inlet and copied that file into the layer folder. Now, with the previously imported waypoints removed from OpenCPN, I restart the program so that it will pick up the GPX file in the layer folder. I will be enhancing this process for using LightListManager to plot changes to the Coast Guard light list on my electronic charts over the next few months. But now at least I have finally provided a real use for the program.